G'day Legends, Darksider here with another edition of Streamer Tips 101, where I show you some really cool stuff that you can do with your stream and channel points and drive that interactivity and even flex off some really cool special effects. Now, the plugin that we're looking at today is a plugin by someone by the name of CERN, which is the OBS shader filter plugin. Now, this plugin allows you to do some pretty cool things with both your webcam sources or any source within OBS and applying effects to that layer, etc., etc. So let's get stuck into it and see what this is all about. Alright guys, this video is going to assume two things. One, that you have OBS installed and are familiar with it, and two, that you have both the Move plugin as well as the Shader plugin installed. Now, as I said, both the links will be down in the description below, so please go and click on them, get them up and happening now. The website will look something like this. Going into the download section, you're going to click on that and it will download, for at least the shader filter plugin, a WinZip file. And when you go to the Move transition, it will give you a couple of different options, whether you want to do the drag and drop method or whether you want to do the installer method. Because I'm already going to do the drag and drop, I'm just going to take that option. I'm going to open those up in a folder. I'm going to extract them here. As you can see, I've done this a few times already. Extract both of those out. Cool, and here we go here. So in this case, I'm going to go inside this OBS studio and I'm going to copy and paste this one. So I'm going to copy that. And these two folders that you see here, data and OBS-plugins, are going to be put where you have installed your OBS file on your PC. Now, in this case, for me, I've installed this on my C drive, which is down in Program Files, all the way down OBS Studio. I'm going to right click and I'm going to paste that in. It's going to ask for permission to do so. Yes, try again. Have I got OBS open? Yes, I do. So I'm going to close that. I'm going to try that again. Boom, there we go. Going to go into downloads and I'm going to grab the other two folders that I extracted. I'm going to copy those. Just going to go back here and I'm going to paste both of those in. Continue there. Perfect. And that's basically those two plugins installed, ready to go. So go and do that now. I'm going to hang out here with all my friends and we'll see you in a few short seconds.
A few moments later.
All right, guys, hopefully you didn't have any issues in getting those plugins installed within OBS. And there's a really easy way to check to make sure they're installed correctly. And it's as simple as clicking on any of your scenes or sources within OBS, right-clicking, clicking on filters, clicking the plus option, and you should see user-defined shader, as well as move source value and move transition override. If you don't see those four filters within there, then it hasn't been installed correctly. You'll need to go and redo those steps, making sure the plugins are installed in the right installation folder within OBS, and as well as you resetting OBS. So you do need to close it down and then reboot it after installing those two plugins. Cool. So now that that's all said and done, I'm going to go across to a scene I've prepared earlier that has my webcam already pre-loaded onto it, and we're going to start to play around with the different effects. More specifically, we're going to look at the black hole effect that I've created using the zoom blur shader. So I'm going to click on here and I'm going to click filters. Now, as you can see, I've already started to do and play around with some of the different filters within here, but the one I want to talk about is this black hole effect. So how have I gotten to this point? All I've simply done for the black hole effect at the top here is I've clicked the plus icon, I've clicked on user defined shader, I've named this as black hole effect, so I've clicked OK on that. I've then gone load shader text from file, so I've checked that box. My cam's disappeared, perfectly normal. Clicked on browse, and here you can see all the different shader file and effect files. You can play with all of them. The one I'm focusing on at the moment is the zoom blur shader all the way at the bottom. If I click open, and that's going to open that out. Now I'm going to quickly delete that because I've already got that installed here. And what it's going to present me with is all of these different options in terms of samples, magnitude, speed percent, etc. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to play around with the different settings to give you some really cool effects. Now I'm going to jump ahead of this because you can play around with this in your own time and find the effect that you want. The effect that I've set here, I'll use slider inputs, is I've dragged this down to 1000. As you can see, the effect is already taking shape here, which is kind of cool. I've set my speed percent to 1, and I set my samples to 256. That's what I've set it up to. I then clicked on plus, and I've added a move value plugin. So I click that. I've named this move value in. In this case, I'll just name this black hole effect in. Okay. The filter I want to apply it to is the black hole effect filter. So this is kind of like the master filter. Click on that. I uncheck single setting. And as you can see here, I've got all these different options. What I'm going to do, because I want to copy the settings from this across to this, I want to click on get values, and it's automatically going to copy the settings from the master filter that we've applied at the start. The custom duration. Now the duration on how long I want it to take to zoom out from the original cam position. I want it to take, let's say 6 seconds, so 6,000 microseconds. And then I want it to hold in that away position for 5 seconds. And there's a reason why, and we'll show you in a second. So 5,000 milliseconds. I want this to ease in and out. I want quadratic easing function. Now, where do I want this to start? I want this to start when the eye icon in front of this filter is enabled. Where do I want this to stop? I want to hide the filter when it's not showing anywhere. And the next move I want it to complete is the zoom out effect. So it creates the in, and then it creates the out. Now we have to kind of pause here, and then we have to create another move value, which I'll call the black hole effect out. And then I click on OK. And I'm basically going to do the same steps that I did for the in. The only change is I'm going to go back to my master filter, and I'm going to click on defaults. And that's going to essentially reset the settings we had. Now, if I go back to the in, so the zoom out, it saved those original settings that we had. So we now have a starting point, and we have a zooming out point. If I click on the black hole effect out, and I click on to uncheck single setting, sorry, and then I click on get values, it's going to copy the original source. Now I have the master filter at the start, I have the ease out effect, and then I have an ease back in effect because it's going to return to those original settings within here. I promise you, it sounds a little fiddly and a little bit complex, but once you get in here and start doing it, it's actually super simple. Now, the custom duration, so how long do I want it to take to zoom back out? I want it to take 6,000 seconds, so 6 seconds in, then 6 seconds back out. And then I don't need an end delay because it's completed the cycle. So I don't need to have an end delay. It's just going to simply finish there. I'm going to set it to quadratic, so ease in and out. I'm going to set on to enable, and then hide, and then no next move. The move is completed. So what I should get, and what I'm going to test to make sure it works before I show you, is that when I click on the effect in, the cam should zoom out, and when I click on the when it zooms out, it should automatically move back in, because I've gone into my black hole effect in option, and the next move I want it to complete is the black hole effect out. So I've created a master filter, I've created a set of values that I need it to drive to, and I've created another set of values I need it to drive back to, which will create sort of this boomerang style effect. So I'm going to test this to make sure this works, and then I'm going to show you guys the finished result. Alright guys, after a PC crash and some fiddling with the filters, I did get this up and working, no problems at all. So if you follow the steps up until now, what should happen when you click on or uncheck the eye on move value in, it should zoom out, and then after about 5 or 6 seconds, it should automatically zoom back in, and you'll see the eye on the move value out. That'll highlight, as you can see here, and it's now creating the effect, as you can see, where the cam has come back. Pretty cool, right? Now you can apply this to a number of different things, whether it's your game capture or just your webcam. And the cool thing is, because as you can see here, it sort of had the cam in the background just a little bit as a little dot there. So you can keep that effect in, or you can hide it behind a webcam or another source, however you want to do it to show the theatrics behind it. But this is now completely automated in terms of I just uncheck the move value in, and then move value out. So that part of it is done. So let's look at the Lioranboard setup to make sure that we can tie this into channel points so they can start to redeem this live within the stream and create that cool effect on demand. All right, guys, so now comes the part where we get the channel point redemption set up and the command set up within Lioranboard so that your viewers can redeem this live, or the effect that we've just created live on stream. So hopefully if you're here, you have Lioranboard, you're familiar with it, you have it installed. If not, there's plenty of tutorials out there. I'll leave the link below on where to install Lioranboard, but in terms of getting it set up, plenty of videos on YouTube. So I'm going to open up my stream deck because I've already connected it to both OBS and I've connected it to Twitch. So click on my stream deck and you can see all the different fun things that I've got. But what we're going to do is we're going to create a new blank button, and I'm going to call this Black Hole Redemption. Now I have switched computers, so the file names and stuff will be a little bit different, but the theory is still the same, right? So I'm going to add my Twitch triggers, and I'm going to do a point redeem, and I'm going to call this Black Hole. I'm going to click done. And then I'm going to add my commands. Now what we're going to be using here is we're going to be using a filter change visibility. So remember we were talking about hiding that eye and then showing the eye to enable the effect to happen. So clicking on filter change visibility. What's the source name? Now I've hidden this on my dual cam scene. The filter name is, in this case I've called it vortex in and out. So I want to enable the vortex, which is true. So this will turn the eye for that particular filter on. So the vortex overlay on. I then want to create another filter change visibility on dual cam scene. And this will be the in effect. So if I click on this and then I click true. So remember how we set it up where it would have the next move would be automatically the out. So that's pretty much all I have to do here, with the exception of turning the vortex filter off in terms of the eye. Now you don't have to do that. You can leave that on because it's already returned back to its original state, which is the webcam where it originally started with no effect on it. Now I just like to hide it because I have a number of filters built within this scene. So I'm going to do filter change visibility, dual cam scene, and then I'm going to do vortex false, and I'm going to do that after 15,000 seconds. So what's going to happen is my vortex filter will turn on with no delay. The vortex in, I will actually put a small delay on just to enable it to time it right. So what this has basically said is the vortex filter turns on. It will then enable, as the next step, the move filter. So zooming it back out, it will then automatically, because we set it up like that, enable the zoom back in. And then it will then hide the original master filter back after 15,000 seconds. And now that that's all set up and done, we can go across to our Twitch channel to see this all in action. So I'm going to open up my Twitch dashboard here, just so you guys can see this live on stream. If I go across to here, and I'm going to find my black hole, which is too many of them. There we go. And if I redeem, and then I zoom back in. Now you can play around with the timings. I've set up another move filter so it automatically takes my microphone and desktop audio down to 0 and then brings it back up all automatically using that move filter, because as I said, it can be applied to a number of different sources, both your audio, whether it be your webcam, game, etc. So play around with it. It's entirely up to you on how you structure it, but there's some pretty cool things you can do with it, and that's just one example of some of the cool shaders that are available. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning into this episode of Streamer Tips 101 with the black hole style effect that's using the zoom blur shader. Now, as I said, that's one example of all the cool things that you can do with different shaders. So definitely play around with the different options and find some cool effects that you can use with your stream, and then connecting them to Lioranboard, enabling those channel point redemptions as well. And that move filter, as I said, is very, very powerful. And as you can see, the audio was also going in and out with it as well. So play around with it, come up with some really cool ideas, and don't be afraid to show me either, you know, watching what some of the guys within my community have been creating based off the stuff that I've shown them has been pretty insane. So definitely throw down the links to some cool stuff that you've created down below. Now, these videos unfortunately take me a lot of time and 1,000,001 takes, so please, if you like what you see, do what this thing is doing below. Make sure to like and comment down below if I've missed anything, or if you want to see any type of effects or things in future, feel free to leave that in the comment section below, and we will see you on the next installment or the next video, showing you guys some more cool things that we can do with Lioranboard, move effects, and shader filters. But until then,